And then our caucus retreat is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just when we'll knock heads together about what our priorities are gonna be, who will take leads on which issues and all that stuff, so. Things in Columbus are. We're all on the same page at the moment, we're all getting along, which is a change from the last 2 years. And hopefully that's gonna continue. I will argue about something eventually, but I think things are in pretty good shape at the moment, and I'm excited. I think we're gonna be able to get some good things done.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Good morning. We call to order our Knox County Commissioner meeting. We do have Mark Heiner, our state representative here, as well as our guest from Clemens Nelson and Associates. We have Brian Butcher, president, and then also Drew Esposito, vice president. And we appreciate you coming and helping us understand your function and role. I know you've been very beneficial to the county, and we appreciate all that your office does for us. So I'll let you go ahead and start some sharing.
Okay. Clemens Nelson and Associates, we're a human resources firm for the two new commissioners. Drew and I are both lawyers. We've helped the county. It's been a long time. I started working with Clemens Nelson in 2007. I used to have a lot more hair, believe it or not. And I worked for one of our primary partners. His name was John Kroc. Drew actually manages the county now. He's the account manager and the primary contact for any of the elected officials, as well as Jason. And what our function has been is anytime there's nasty HR stuff, we help you navigate it. We work closely in conjunction, usually with the prosecutor's office if there's legal issues that arise, but our big role is to keep you three out of litigation and help you move through anything sticky from an HR perspective. That includes policy development, civil rights investigations. Drew does all the union negotiations here, and we have a good rapport with all the elected officials. But it's nice to meet both of you. Drew, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I guess when I took over for John Kroc, I think the nice thing has been good coordination with the commissioner's office, because not every county has this, but we're fortunate enough that since we negotiate for the sheriff, engineer's office, which technically those contracts come before the commissioners, but sometimes they use different representation, that they're kept kind of in the dark. By having it all uniform, that we're all doing it, we're able to create consistency among all of your guys' labor contracts, despite there being multiple elected officials. So it's been really have a nice ease and a good consistent history when we're talking about discipline and things like that of what's happening across the county.
Yeah, Knox County's been lucky in that respect, that there has been pretty holistic coordination among the decision makers. It's not like that everywhere. So just so you know a little bit of background about our company, we started the company in 1976. So that was before Drew and I were both born. Ted Clemens and Pat Nelson started it. They were replaced by 4 partners in 92, 93-ish. And then there's been another change in kind of people who run the company. So Drew's the corporate vice president. I'm the president. We have 4 offices across the state. We represent about 300 different public employers on a regular basis. So we represent townships as small as like it's the cemetery sexton, and then do work for big counties like Franklin County. We do work for City of Columbus, Cuyahoga County, Hamilton County. So rural, metro, housing authorities. Actually, that's where we first started working with Jason when he was running the housing authority here. A little bit of everything, but our primary niche is public sector. We don't charge big law firm rates, and our rates are tailored to the public sector. I would say 90% of our clients, maybe even more than that, are
like 95,
our public sector. We do a little private sector work, but primarily our niche has been working with people like y'all. So
we have 5 unions in the county, commissioner. So we have water, wastewater, engineer, sheriff, 911. and Job and Family Services. And that was one a couple of years ago, the commissioners, JFS was kind of on an island. We pulled them
Yeah.
in, the Clemens Nelson, and they have all five. And to Drew's point, it is nice because when those negotiations are going on, we try to get similar language in all five contracts. It makes it makes it easier for us in the county to know what's going on, for our human resource office to know what's going on. That's all been very helpful. And then now that we do have HR, we've had for 3 or 4 years in-house, they work closely with Clemens Nelson as well for issues that come up that maybe we're unsure or we need clarification on policy or just new federal guidelines changing, and they help interpret that for us. So very beneficial to have them available when we need them.
Yeah, our corporate office is at Easton. That's where Drew and I both work. He lives in Westerville. I live in Granville, so it's a easy buzz up here if we ever have to come on site. In our corporate office, we have about 15 people stationed there. And then we have an office in Akron, Lima, and Goshen Township in the Cincinnati area. So we got state of Ohio pretty much cornered. Other than that, answer any questions, or it's just always nice to put faces with names. So
Great to meet you. So are you on, Pam, have you on call then? She can contact you. Is it Pam in HR?
Pam
Yeah.
is, there is a Pam there, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pam could.
yeah, so we're basically the outsourced specialist. So if there's something that she needs just reinforced, or occasionally the people who work in and around people don't want to either have conflicts or don't want to deal with that stuff, we'll come in, we get to take care of the nasty stuff, and then we get to go home while everybody else has to continue that. We provide a neutral third-party viewpoint on all that stuff. Plus, we're experts in our field. So Courtney handles a lot of the day-to-day HR stuff. We don't get involved in that, just whenever they need us. So
She needs you, she'll call you.
yeah.
And you guys didn't have it come up, but the recent one would be like the Fair Labor Standards Act salary threshold stuff that happened over the past 12 months.
Went back.
A lot of our smaller clients that were compensated on the lower end, we're trying to figure out, well, this is going into effect in June, the first step. Do we need to bump people? Then it's going to happen in January. How do we bump people? Then there's a new court case that says it stayed, right? And so there's people like, well, what do we have to do now? And we call and go, all right, here's what you have to do. You flip them to hourly, you flip them to the salary, or you give them a raise. And you just have that call. And those types of calls usually for us are no charge. Anything that's routine, they can just call us. And then you can get more serious stuff. If you have a unfortunate situation that's sensitive, whether it's misconduct of some sort, they can call us. We can talk through steps, preemptive steps before you get into the weeds.
Yeah, the contractual relationship you have with all of us, anything routine is not charged. So emails, phone calls, anything that's just quick hitters, we don't charge for. And our response time, I mean, Jason's got us on call. If he needs us, he just texts us, we'll call him right away. So it's been a pleasure working for Knox County all these years, and it'll be good working for 2 new ones and Commissioner Purcell. So.
And Drew does, we contact them more for like grievance situations if the union would file grievance, or if I think the department heads have a question sometimes relating to those issues, we can work, like Drew said, ahead and navigate those before maybe we get to that, to that level.
We see something that's going to happen. We know a decision that we want to make, and we go, okay, what's the outcome? And we start getting ahead of the game, because you guys have really good relationships. You're not just your elected officials, but your departments with your local unions. You guys have really strong relationships. So a lot of stuff can be
the case either.
can be hashed out before there's a grievance and before you start spending money.
And I think all of our contracts are fairly new. I know water, wastewater will negotiate later this year. I think maybe that's the only one in 25 that.
Yep, sheriff's done. 911's done. Engineer is probably mid,
And JFS is probably mid.
and JFF is mid.
They're all 3-year contracts that we can sign.
Was it your office that did the salary review when we were doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was very
Compensation study,
beneficial.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that's another area that our business has really taken off of. One of the our managers in our Columbus office, she kind of runs. I mean, basically does every comp study for every burb in the Columbus area and county. And so when you're trying to ascertain what appropriate compensation is and who you're competing with, that's another thing that's oftentimes ran through our office, just to provide that neutral view, as well as to match it up with whatever your compensation philosophy is. So
And we had that update. They did a plan for us in 21 or 22, right post COVID. And then last year we did an update to that, kind of see
COVID really threw
where,
stuff.
yeah, to see where we were at and how things are trending. And then obviously they did one before we went into negotiations.
Yeah.
So we,
foresee any challenges right now that we face?
With the labor contracts being settled, that's a huge relief for incoming commissioners. There's some complicated stuff when those labor contracts go from December to January when you're in safety services, because there's some technicalities in the law if they wouldn't have been settled that are pretty stressful, that I wouldn't have wanted to deal with.
and that's because they can't strike, right?
Yes, it's because there's something called a conciliation unit. So whatever the conciliator would have decided, you three would have been just stuck with no vote, right? Like, so if that would have happened, it kind of would have been a little unpleasant to try to figure out a budget after the fact, and it can be complicated. I think
I always say 5% of people cause 95% of the
Yeah.
problems.
Isn't that true in life?
So those are your challenges that you gotta work through. I don't think anything on the horizon.
I don't see any huge stuff that's being changed legislatively. The salary stuff with the FLSA was complicated for a lot of people, but you guys just didn't, and you guys compensate fairly, right? And employees here, in my view, are paid a good wage, so usually that doesn't come into play.
I don't see that rule going anywhere anymore anyway, so.
Yeah,
Um. Other than that,
staffing is always going to be a
yeah,
challenge.
retention,
Staffing's been a challenge for 3 years and it's not getting better.
there's just fewer people out there. to
Yeah.
Pick from, gig economy, other stuff to compete with.
Mhm.
The millennials and Gen Z who are gonna make a lot of money just by vlogging themselves around. But just those new things. And I think for the most part, public sectors try to stay competitive wage and benefit wise, as things have changed, but it's just tougher. I mean, you used to be able to, if you wanted a police officer, there was a line all the way back to Columbus. Now, a handful. I mean, so you just gotta be selective and make sure you get the right people, because if you don't pick the right person, you're right back at the same situation, and it's time, money, effort. But I don't, other than
Yeah.
that, I mean, it's always important. One of my pet peeves is that employers are real quick to throw money at technology, at software, equipment. But at the county level, your main line item is people. So you maintenance your staff, you maintenance your HR systems. As long as you do that, I think you'll continue to be a great place to work. So
So if we treat people well, 95% of them will do well.
I think so.
And you just deal with the 5%.
yes, we'll take care of those 5 and then drive home.
Yeah.
Now, I assume you work with Corsa on.
Occasionally, so we actually, so Corsa, just for the 2 new commissioners, and maybe you already know this, they're the risk liability pool. They do have a Corsa hotline as well. I don't know that we compete with them. We work in conjunction with them. Occasionally but we are separate entities, put it that way. So I would say the Corsa people who are farmed out to are usually the law firms that are on their defense counsel panel. And our goal is to keep you out of litigation. So a lot of times we deal with that stuff before it even gets to Corsa. And if we do need to get an opinion from Corsa, we'll work in conjunction with Corsa.
I know they have a training. that
Yeah,
We have every year, and I didn't know whether you guys ever came and were the
Yeah.
presenters for any of their
Yeah,
courses.
Usually under CCAO, like a lot of times we'll be on the same panels and stuff like that for
we actually
their
trained their staff
Yeah.
last year. So
So we did the commissioners
That's true.
banquet down in Hawking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
course, is great.
But we certainly appreciate your
Thank
company
you.
and what
Yeah.
you've done over the
Appreciate
years for us.
Appreciate it.
And we'll expect that continued high level.
You got it, sir.
Yeah,
And if you guys ever need us to, our contact info, he's got it. It's not like we can't talk to the commissioners too. So if you ever need us, feel free to reach
Yeah,
out.
feel free to reach out. Phone call away. So welcome aboard to the new commissioners. So
Thank you.
And they're going out to see the.
we're gonna go out to see the sheriff here now.
Sheriff, yeah.
Okay, well, good.
Great.
So
Well, thank you guys.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
nice meeting you.
Great meeting you.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice meeting you.
Good meeting you. Yeah.
Good seeing you.
Yes, you too.
One of the things we need to remind people who are watching next Tuesday, you won't be in here because it's the day after the holiday. And we will not be doing have session the day after a holiday. Okay, Jason, you want to?
Yeah, we got a few items for you today. Need to approve an advertisement in the Malvern News for a public notice, invitation to bid for the county engineer, the highway mechanic truck.
You?
I motion to approve.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, then we have another approved advertisement in the Malvern News for a public notice request for statement of qualifications for the Knox County Engineer Bridge Replacement Project. And this is for Pleasant Valley Road Bridge, and the project estimate is $1,044,935.99. This is just to give a public notice for those services.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
And those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then the county engineer,
It's just Secretary Jason.
Yeah.
So Chip mentioned in today's meeting that at some point we won't be required to do these announcements, as I understand it, so.
That's
I think
correct.
it's in April that
Yeah.
that takes effect.
yes, that's, had some discussions about that, I don't remember. Yeah, that's correct. I think 90 days. 90 days.
And that's what
We
he
would
said.
not have to do public notices for bids. We just put them on the county.
We're
website.
starting in April though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we have approved a Sourcewell sales order for the Southeastern Equipment Company for Knox County Engineer 2023 International Asphalt Hot Box Dumpster Trailer. So this is just a Sourcewell is a co-op that he can go through to source this. So does this have an amount, Penny?
Mhm.
Yes, it does. Here's the total. It does not total it, does it? Yeah, it is $44,325. That'll come out of the engineer's budget.
Approved, motion to approve.
And
Second.
those in favor, say aye.
All right.
And that just requires one. You have to sign it twice, but it only requires one signature.
Okay.
Okay, this must be the engineer day. Then we approve a change order number 7 for Law General Contracting. This was related to the Danville Amity Road Safety Improvement. And this is decreasing the contract by $149,914.76. So it's a reduction change order.
And what accounts for that reduction?
That is, let's see, here's the whole list here. It's actually multiple things from conduit, to rock. Inspection of a well, so there must have been a whole area that he didn't need, let's see, balance. Balance change order for non-performed items and contingency items not performed, so I guess once it was in the contract, is as a contingency that they may need to do it, it wasn't necessary.
Okay. So it wasn't that we were cutting back money, it was that it came in at a better price.
That's correct.
Great. We like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
those in favor, say aye.
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 It just requires one signature. And then we have application payment, so that was a change order 7, this is a payment number 6 to Law General Contracting for the Danville Amity Road. And this payment is for $227,772.02. So this is just a payment towards the project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then the engineer has a contract application for payment number 8 for VO Manuez and Son for the Kraus Road Bridge, and this is for $29,973.95.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
And those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bill, he's got the payment app and then the large document here you need to sign as well. Okay, for him. We have approved the local emergency planning committee application for this is the new LEPC members. And this is a list of all of the members that'll serve on the local emergency planning committee. And this is handled by somewhat in conjunction with EMA and JT DeShawn. But this is a list of his committee members for 2025. You'll see the list of everybody that's on there, and then you have this, we need one signature for the state of Ohio for that.
Would you like to see that, Commissioner? Would you like to see the list?
I've
Or you
got it right here.
you have it too? Okay.
Yeah. So I need a motion.
You want to do that, Barry? You're looking it over?
I'm looking at it.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Take your time.
A motion to approve.
A second,
And those in favor, say aye.
all right?
And this last item, there's no price or anything, but it's just approve a state of Ohio participation agreement with the state of Ohio DAS contract for Centos, and this just ensures we get state pricing. Centos we use out at the water wastewater.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
And those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
That's all the resolutions, correct? Nothing else came in.
That is correct.
Okay. Commissioners, that's it for the resolutions. Couple updates that I have for you today, nothing major, but. Commissioner, just see you got an email and I've got an email from the state of Ohio Department of Development. And I just want to let you know what exactly that was. It says they were coming in to do an audit and they were just notifying you, I guess, to notify the board. That's just a standard protocol for our community development block grants. And once those programs are over, then they come in and do an audit on those. And our consultant, Amy Shocken with CDC of Ohio, they'll be here and they actually handle letting them look at the files and all of that. But the state of Ohio notifies us. So if you see that in your email, don't be alarmed. That's all it is. They're just,
Okay.
they'll be here on site and it says they'll be here March 4th.
Oh,
They'll be here
March.
March 4th.
Okay, the state auditor had said he would stop by and say hello. to
They're
her.
coming in, I think the state auditor, are they coming Thursday? Somebody's coming, I think. You guys told me that, mentioned to me.
Either today or Thursday. I'll look at my calendar and bring it in.
It was today, but.
Okay. But this is actually the Ohio Department of Development coming in to do an audit, so I just wanted you to know that. Because you did get that email. And then for Brenda and Barry, this came yesterday. This is the draft of your new commissioner training.
I got that.
But you have that?
Mhm.
Okay, I printed you off a
I
copy.
have that.
Thank you.
So you would have those.
Mhm.
And I think that's the only items I have for you today. And then we, at 11, go off site for the alley vacation request from Clinton Township. And you're required by law to go out and actually see the alley that they're requesting to vacate. So you'll go out and do that, and then we'll have the meeting on that at a later date, but we have to actually go on site to see those.
That later date is Thursday at 10 o'clock.
Is it?
That's
Okay.
hearing. Yes.
May I ask things that we would be looking for?
Well, the county engineer typically shows up on those, and he's really gonna make a recommendation to the board commissioners on vacating that stuff, but really, you're just looking at it, the trustees may or may not be there, the homeowner will be there, and they can explain why they are asking to vacate that portion. I think we had been out there once before. I think when you get there, you'll be very obvious. That's why they would vacate the alley. It was never, it was platted as an alley, but it was never used as an
That
alley.
runs beside Jeremy White
That's
business there.
Yes, yeah. So we'll be on site for those. And then you have two sets of minutes. For one set of minutes, I'm sorry, one set of minutes from that Penny has, and she did at your request, her to attach these to the agenda announcement. These are ready to be signed. We have one transfer and then the daily bill list. And then that needs signed by Bill. Yes. Wasn't enough, right? What I said, it's 23,000.
Oh, it's
Yeah, and that's everybody in the county, not just our office.
I was surprised it wasn't more than, to be honest.
So Mark, do you have anything you'd like to share?
You all three.
No, not at this point. You've all got my cell number, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You need me, call me.
Do you see any upcoming things we need to prepare ourselves to know about?
Not that I'm aware of yet for counties. But as I said, we're gonna have our retreat this week, so we'll talk about priorities and things we wanna work on. So I may know more by the weekend, but
Okay. That report to us.
my goal is to have good communication. I don't want any of us to be surprised about anything, you from things I'm doing or me from things you're doing and. So just don't be bashful, and I'm gonna try to get here as often as I can. I don't know how often that will be, but you'll see me from time to time and.
How many new freshmen were in there?
I think there's 25 of us all
Are there?
together, I
Yeah.
think.
And I think on the commissioner training, it's February 26th, it's a Wednesday. They have, the last thing they do is visit their legislators, so.
Okay,
assume they're, I don't know if they're taking them over the state.
is that in Columbus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's on.
okay, yeah, they're
That's on
probably,
the 26th at 2:30, it says,
okay,
February 26th.
okay.
I will see you there.
So the 25th, we won't be having a section either.
Correct.
This is cursory.
Yeah, we'll have no session on February 25th.
You turn into Johnson, and
You'll
then
both
you
be-
turn on Crystal Avenue. I have to ask, what do you think is the logic of having the training 2 months after commissioners are in position?
Yeah.
It would be nice to go into
They
the
always do it
position
in
with.
February, yeah.
I figured that you must have some bumps, and then now when you go to the training, you appreciate it. You're like, I've been trained.
Then you know what questions. to ask.
Yes, yes,
And
Sharon.
then the other thing, I guess they have to wait till you take office, so the county can pay for you to attend it, because at that point, you're an elected official and we're. It's a allowable expense probably as well.
Here's the tree.
Yeah, it is. They always do it in late February.
And everybody else is trying to get the year going, I guess. So,
Yeah. Well, we don't have any other business to conduct here, so we can kind of unofficially. When we go out to the site, we'll be asking the landowners and Cameron questions, but we won't do it, come back here to adjourn, so we will conduct and conclude our business for this day at this time.
brought my boots.